doing so many. And what's your favorite moment, in a project?
So the question is, what is my favorite kind of project and what is my favorite moment? So it depends on why you're asking. If it's making money, that's one thing. Well, I will say I got in the self-storage business about 20 years too late. I wish I'd have gotten in that a long time ago. That is a great business, and we enjoy that. But it's fun. I was 25 when we did Governor's Club, and we spent a lot of time and patience trying to make that a great community. And I go up there today, and I'm still proud of it. It looks nice. I mean, the other thing I think that is, if you look at particularly even 10 years ago when you went to the nonprofits, and I think it's still true today. I mean, you go to any nonprofit board, and half those people lived at Governor's Club. So we brought all those people here who have now helped to make Chatham County a better place and help with social safety net and things of that nature. So those are kind of fun things to see. I mean, these things are hard. I don't know that I've got any more of these in me. So this is, I'll be 61 in about a month, and it's fun to see it come together, but it's very hard because you've got all the different uses, and just, we all know what happened to office utilization in COVID, and so, there's always things that because they happen over a decade, it's always hard to anticipate. So, thanks.
Thank you.
Go ahead, Don.
Yeah, you talked about networks and the importance to growth and innovation. And I know those can be a lot of different things, social communications, organization, or whatever. What do you think are the most important parts of the networks that need to drive the innovation? And how do you set those up?
So you mean specifically like the hubs I was talking about?
Yeah, and the hubs. I mean, is that buildings? Is that communications infrastructure? Is it social organizations where people can meet each other? What are the most important parts of the network?
So I think the short answer is all of those.
Okay.
You've got to have the facilities. I mean, Massachusetts did this, and they invested theirs in about a 3 square mile area. They spent $1 billion building wet lab facilities because that was the pinch point of why they were not getting more of their research turned into companies, and so they said, well, we're going to invest $1 billion over 10 years in wet lab facilities, and they did, and you can see the data, and it made a huge difference because that was a limiting factor. Broadband is a big issue here. Bernie knows this, but if you come here, you get not all day, every day, but most days you get 1 gig up and 1 gig down. That's very fast. Chatham Park, again, operate on the scale. They were able to get a supplier to come in and put brand new fiber throughout here. So we've got really, unfortunately, it was the same group that had copper in most of Chatham County. So it's like, this is not good. They've changed their name to Brightspeed now. But I mean, it does work. I mean, you can download something in this room when you're on the system and you can see how fast it goes. And that's a unique feature. We had someone that came and rented a suite, and they were not that far down the road, but they were just past where Broadband was, and they were using the satellite
Starlink.
Yeah, Starlink, and they said, that will pay for 2/3 of an office, me coming over here, and I get to be here, and he said he comes down, likes the social aspects of it. So I do think, people, and one of the things that we hope will eventually happen is, somebody will start in a desk, create a company, need a suite upstairs. Eventually they'll need more space in one of the buildings. But one of the things that we hear over and over in these kind of ecosystems that get created is they don't want to leave. They like all the people, so they need a bigger space for their company and enterprise as it moves forward, but they want to be close to all the sort of people in the social network that they put together. So you really need all the above, and that's what you'll see in the 4 hubs, and certainly what we're trying to create here at 79 Degree West.
A follow-up based on what you just said. You said you need the hub for the growth, for the contact, and all of that. But then you said people don't want to leave. So how do you disperse it? What gets done to break those links and disperse it so that you can have wider growth?
I mean, I just think the company grows and it is forced into a different environment, but they want to be proximate is what I guess the point I was making. That, if we build a building across the street that's got 30,000 square feet of office and put wet labs over there. You know, they need 3,000 square feet where they can lock the door and keep their research, but they can still walk over here and have a cup of coffee and take a break and talk to people and friends. That's what I meant by that. That they will break apart by just the natural evolution of the company. But you know, but you got to have places for them to go, because then that's what's happening a lot, is they're having to go places and then kind of start afresh.
I think just to add to that, because I'm also, you know, working within this field, I think that curating the right kind of service providers, for example, to come in, investors to come, so that what we see is, you know, if a startup is sitting there and you can turn around and say, I need an accountant. Oh my gosh, I'm having this major problem. You know, they have the so-and-so sitting in over that booth saying, oh, I'm not an accountant, but I know one. I just talked to so-and-so. And it's that curation of different people that can offer different experiences is what we're trying to create here, that will allow people to, one, come want to stay, and even if they go across the street, they know they can come over here and still be able to connect with people that they need information from.
Yeah, question back there.
Yeah, go ahead.
I understand it, but I'm way back here. This is all so exciting. I've had some involvement with other co-working spaces in larger cities where everybody knows what that is. I think Chatham is. So figure out what co-working is, and it will be full in no time. But at the meeting yesterday, that Kirk went to, and I did too, and a lot of you were there at Chamber Conference, there were a couple other things, and I know you and I cannot solve this, but I just bring them up. One was that the third grade readiness reading school, which apparently is this very important mark, went from 60% in Chatham to 50 during COVID, and it's only 50% of kids in Chatham County in third grade can't read at their grade level, and apparently that's great. And so this is something that we obviously have to address, because those young people need to graduate, go to high school to take advantage of CC Works, which is such a wonderful program, to then work in our county or somewhere nearby. So there's that one, and then the other statistic there, a couple about housing, was that people that had the income bracket was 48,000, and their numbers like that were the ones leaving the county. People moving into the county, their incomes were 106, 125, and the median house price was 600K. You remember that number, which is staggering. And when you take the Ultimate Club out, it only drops to 596. So in the process of imagining a future Chatham, future Pittsburgh, 10 years from now, it just seems to me there are just going to be issues we've got to, as a community, find ways to support our young people so they can succeed, and then figure out this housing issue. Otherwise, you know, who's going to be here that's working class people that are going to support all the other
Yeah.
people to do all the service professions and in all the ways that we need them. If they can't afford to rent, which we said is about 1,200 starting average for one bedroom. So these are big issues. Well, you are such a big thinker, and you're so successful at what you worked on. And I just throw these out to the larger.
Well, I will say that we've got a supply and demand issue triangle-wide, and even more so here in Chatham County. And the way to solve affordability is more housing. We've got to get, you know, we know that people are coming, and all these things like high interest rates are actually going to slow down housing, and that's going to just put more upward pressure. But, you know, there's a lot of thought given to the affordable housing component of the additional elements here at Chatham Park, so there will be some concurrent. I think there's other things, but it's hard to make it affordable in this county and do all the things that people want with stormwater and standards and the energy efficiency. It is very hard to build things that are medium lower. So another solution to that is make sure everybody can read and get better jobs, so that, you know, there are no people making 48,000. I know that's a little bit unrealistic, but you get the point. I think that's part of it. But you're right that we need a broad spectrum of socioeconomics to make an economy work, and we want to make sure that they can live here and enjoy to be here. I will say on the reading thing, you know, I mean, we've got a great space in there to do any kind of learns, you know, if a group of people want to get together and provide tutoring services, you know, and get people over. I mean, you know, there's other ways to solve it other than, you know, more grants from the General Assembly. I think as a community, if people would be willing to, you know, volunteer time and we have a central place to do it. I mean, that's what I think Mosaic is going to provide here. We just haven't had a lot of big gathering places to solve these kind of problems or volunteer our time and have a critical mass of people. So, but they're both big issues we need to solve. You're right, Carol. So, other questions? Or?
Go ahead.
Kirk, what are two specific things that have put the biggest smile on your face about this Mosaic project?
Having 1,800 people and watching come out here and enjoy band. That was just really unbelievable. I mean, just having that. I mean, I could have never imagined that when I first started driving to and coming up to do things in Chatham County back in 1988 that we would ever have that kind of event here. That's one. I will say the slide yesterday where we had 21% and everybody else had about 5% of high school students getting community college credits. That really was a great project, and I'll just digress quickly to say that came out of the fact in Lee County, one year we had a 63% graduation rate, a horrible graduation rate. And you know, Lee County is about 70% free and reduced lunch. I mean, there's some economically challenged, you know, it's changing a little bit. And so United Way got a Gates Foundation grant, put a group of us together. It started off with free community college. We worked up with this CC Works thing. But you know, we have been very thoughtful and purposeful about educating students and their families about what to take advantage of this program where you can get these credits, be it technical. And it was funny when I was going around making the pitch, I was raising private money, asked all the counties to put $50,000 each in it. And one of the groups of county commissioners says, well, I don't want to put it into, you know, people going to college, they're going to figure out a way to do that anyway. And I said, I guarantee you the majority are going to be in the career and technical path. And if you look at that 21%, most of them, at least it used to be, 2/3 were career and technical, and 1/3 were sort of pre-college, you know, going to getting university credit. So, you know, it is definitely solving both aspects of our workforce needs, skilled worker and knowledge worker. So those two things, how about that?
That's good. I got another question. Can you give us a little bit of a history of at what point you said, I'm in on this deal?
This deal?
Yes, sir.
So I'll talk about Mosaic and then I'll bring it to 79 and tell you what 79 Degree West is. So I'd known Tim and Bubba for a long time and never worked with them. We had been doing some projects with a group of private investors around. We developed the center up at Briar Chapel where Town Hall Burger and Beer is and some other things. We did the industrial park in Sanford and went and talked to them, and they said, well, we really like someone. They're not really commercial developers. We'd love somebody to do a commercial project. We want something in this spot here that is going to be, it's really set the tone for what we think Chatham Park's going to be and be an amenity for our residents as we come along. So we said, okay, so we shook hands in March of 2016 in the building on downtown there, the Chatham Smart Park space down there, and then we had a charrette, big community charrette. Carol, I think you participated in it. Some others in this room did. Brought a firm in out of Pittsburgh, Urban Design Associates, and kind of envisioned what this needed to be. And the lawn was a big part of that, having that at the heart of it. And so, you know, that was the, you know, kind of, it was very exciting to be able to put that together. As it relates to this, when we made the, you know, wanted to be content rich and we developed a relationship with Innovate Carolina, they came back with a lot of names, and one of the names they came back with was 79 Degree West. And if anybody knows that, that is the longitude that runs between Chapel Hill and Pittsburgh. So we wanted to bring more connectivity to the university and the campus, so that's where the name came from. So I don't know if that completely answers your question, but it's a start.
We have a question.
Are the water problems in Pittsburgh hurting either Chatham Park or Mosaic?
Well, they certainly don't help. But I will say that, and where's the mayor here, or soon to be Mayor Kyle, but there he is in the back. But you know, one of the things people don't realize is that the Sanford solution is a wastewater solution and a water solution. There's a lot of reasons it's called interbasin transfer, but once those facilities are built out, we will never have a water problem again. The reason there's a water problem periodically in Pittsburgh is there is no reservoir. They pull the water in directly from the Hall River. Hall River is a very impacted river, as we know. There's people upstream that dump these PFAS and other things, and we, you know, they're doing better at warning us so we can stop making water and drawing in, and that helps a little bit. Made the big investment, it's not reverse osmosis, anyway, system, you can see the towers there, to try and pull out most of these things, but you know, they have to announce it, they should announce it, it's public, and anything negative like that scares people. We have filters on all the residential taps in this building, same thing, and each home has, not necessarily on a toilet, but on the, like the sink, kitchen sink, and things where you're gonna potentially drink potable water. There's a filtration system, but you know, since this investment that was made, we've really, you know, most of these, you know, all have been taken out, and we haven't had as many issues because there's been a lot of pressure upstream to do that. But the Sanford merger will ultimately allow that to never ever be a problem again.
Got another one for you.
All right, James.
Life isn't always easy. Business isn't always easy. So what's the biggest business challenge you faced that you've overcome and are really proud of?
Let's see.
I think he should have actually been here instead.
It's okay, I'm available for the next one.
Biggest shot, I don't know. There's been so many. You know, I tell you, when you're in the real estate business, and I've seen either life has chosen or I've chosen to do these long projects like Governor's Club, which is a 15 to 20 year project in this, you're gonna go through some different cycles. And I just think figuring out a way to persevere, you know, it's, I told somebody recently, everything's hard these days. It used to be when you did a real estate project, there was 4 or 5 things that you had to really focus on, get focused, stay focused, and everything else would be okay. Now, everything's a problem. I mean, and we're building the apartments, the Guild over here, and if you haven't heard, there's still a supply chain problem with electrical components, one of which is the, you know, the box where you bring power into a building, and very long lead times. This is a $150 item. I mean, it's nothing, and it's stopping millions of dollars. So I just think trying to figure out solutions like that. I can't think of one off the top of my head, Gene. If I do, I'll call you and let you know. But I've had some opportunities, and fortunately, I've been blessed with a lot of friends and family and patience from all of those to help work through these. Because it's, you know, if you're in business, you're going to have problems, and you know, fortunately, we've been able to work through most of them.
As it relates to development and specifically Mosaic, are there do's and don'ts that you know or have learned through other communities that are being built like this that you want to keep in mind for the long-term success of Chatham, of Mosaic?
Well, Mosaic's part of Chatham Park, and so we're comport with these different elements that they've done. And I think, you know, at the end of the day, when the history is written of this project, Mosaic or the greater Chatham Park, you will see where all those elements create a standard for the municipal leaders to judge us and for us to develop to. And it's a set of rules and a framework that we can work towards to make things work here. And because they're developing at the scale I mentioned, you're able to do a lot of interesting things. Imagine if you'd have taken, and trust me, it would have happened, you know, that you would have had, instead of one developer controlling 8,500 acres, you would have had, you know, 1,000 take, you know, or 850 doing 100 acres at a time, whatever the math is. I'm not sure I did that right, but anyway, you get the point. It just is not going to be the same, and it's hard to hold them to the same standard. So, any other?
Yeah, I got another one for you.
All right.
You mentioned that you're a proud granddad. How do you balance family life, business life?
I try and organize my day and week around, and weekends, Sundays. I try and really not do anything at all. That's the time for my wife. We do things together as a family, whatever that is. And so I just try and find a good balance for me where I can do both. It's never, probably if you ask my wife, I'm not putting in enough family time, but I think I do try and find a pretty good balance with that. I mean, it's important. I mean, I love my grandson. It's so much fun to see him grow up and change, and you know, just being with family. We've got a pretty good sized family, and Frank and his wife and daughter just moved back into the country, and so it's just my mom's still alive. I'm very fortunate with that, and so you know, we try and get together and just, you know, find a good balance. I mean, I still work a lot. I mean, when we were doing Governor's Club, I was working 7 days a week, 100 hours a day. I mean, I've got it down to about maybe 60, so I'm directionally in the going in the right direction. So.
If I were to ask your mom, what's the worst thing Kurt ever did? What would she say?
Do we have to cut him off?
I haven't even been drinking.
That's right. Well, I will tell you, this maybe tells you a little bit about overcoming problems and willfulness, but when I was little, and this was back in the days when you would actually get whipped if you did something wrong, I was doing something she didn't like, and she told me, if you keep doing that, I'm going to whip you. And I proceeded to continue to do it, got up, went in the bedroom, got the belt, and handed it to her. So she kind of like, okay. So maybe that, I don't know if that's the worst thing, but that kind of maybe says a lot about my personality. So should we do the drawing?
Yeah, why don't we
Everybody
do
have
that? Where is the
You got the drawing?
I think we have a ball. Anise is
And the
bringing it
items,
over.
you bring the items, yeah.
And the items. All right, does anybody want to put their name in